If you know how to play the Italian, we are going to learn a tricky line of the Italian which you have to know if you play that opening. So how do you play the Italian?
E4,
E5,
and knight F3, and knight, then bishop to C4.
and it's the Italian. Now it's the Italian opening. Now main move for black is
Bishop C5.
bishop to C5. And
C3,
now
C3.
Okay, calm.
Sir, I became.
Just tell it one time, only to say again and again C3.
Sir, not C3. I'm talking about something else. In school, I played against like someone.
Leave the carpet alone, please.
I played.
One person at a time.
I played-
Arav silence. Yeah.
I played against Arav Jain, not Arav.
I know Arav Jain, online student.
Yeah, so I was playing against him and I won easily in the Italian.
Okay, because you played C3, D4. Yeah. If
Not
black
D4, I played D3.
D3, okay. So now white plays C3, and now what's the main move for black? Rehansh.
NF6.
Yeah, knight F6. Here, Sai Krishna, main move for white. What do you think?
Sir, castle.
No, there's a better move. Arav.
D3.
D3 is good, or
D4.
D4. So this is like the main line. People used to play it all the time, like C3, D4, and you're grabbing the sender, right? Now, those who know the continuation here would know, after pawn takes, the game will continue with bishop to B4. There are different things to learn in that setup, right?
Then we play bishop. Sir, can we learn that
Knight C3. No, before that we will learn something else. So we'll get there after we discuss the.
I studied a little bit about the Greco.
Okay, so Greco is a very interesting line. It's not very sound for white. You're giving up a pawn. If black knows what he's doing, black will be better in that opening. Right now, let's focus on this tricky line which you're going to see. Yeah, please, Rajvi, you don't have to ask me. So after pawn takes, we discussed pawn takes d4 and bishop b4. That's the main line, right? But there is another move here for white, which many players play. And then knight takes is not good. No, knight takes and knight takes. No, knight takes is not good. You want to take with the pawn only, not with the knight. You want to control the center with the pawn. There is a tricky move here, which if you haven't faced before, and if you face it suddenly, you will get into complete shock or complete panic.
Knight to G5.
E5. Why would you play knight G5? Black will just castle. Knight G5 doesn't make any sense. E5. So how did this happen? In case you're confused, after white plays D4, when black takes, white says, I'm not taking back. I'm just attacking your knight. Now what do you do? If this happens in your game, what is your next move? Knight to G4. Then you already have a bad position. Because your knight is far away in the corner. And white has good control of the center. Now H3 will kick the knight back to H6. And then if white wants, white can take it. After black castles, white can take the knight. Like imagine here, bishop moves somewhere. And then you block, black castles, white castles, then H3. No, playing knight G4 is a problem. No? I mean, if you play knight G4, then you can castle and you can play that position. Long castling will take so much time. By the time D5 castles and king will be in trouble. So here, knight G4 is a problem. Knight G4 is not a great move because we're putting a knight in the corner.
Knight G.
It won't.
Knight D4.
Let's come back. Let's come back to the position. So after D4, Atharv, you came late. You're still not focusing. After pawn takes, when white plays this tricky move E5, what move to play?
E4. Knight to E4.
Knight to E4. That looks like the most logical move, right? You're putting the knight in the center, and now if pawn takes, the bishop can move, and then you're fine. But white has a good move here, which is white has an almost winning move, almost a good advantage white will get if white finds the next move, which is, let's take 1 minute to think and find the best move for white. No need to raise hand, let everyone think. After 1 minute, we'll discuss.
It would be good if the knight was on F3. Then you could just play queen to F3, then you attack knight and check.
Okay, has anybody decided? Vihan first.
Knight to E2. I mean queen to E2.
Queen to E2. Arav?
Sir, bishop D5.
Bishop B5.
D5.
D5. You're attacking my knight. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, Sai Krishna.
So I forgot the knight to D2.
Knight to this knight to D2.
No, other.
This knight to
No,
D2.
it's a B knight.
That's what I asked you first. Okay, fine. Other knight D2. Okay, developing a piece makes sense. But then black will just take and he'll be up by 1 pawn. He took your pawn. I mean, black took your pawn, right? You didn't take back yet. That is still pending. Before you're taking back, you're attacking his knight, so he moved his knight. Now, if you just allow an exchange of knights, then black is up a pawn. He'll just take here, you take back, black's up a pawn. So that we don't want to give black an advantage in the opening, right? So, knight d2 not advisable. Bishop d5 I can understand. You're again attacking the knight, right? Now, what will I do? Let's see. How do I save my knight? It's my knight's almost trapped, right? So I have
Except for
to.
giving up your knight.
No, but there's still one way to save it, which is
What?
how do I?
Pawn to nay. Why you know?
You calm down now, first of all. You're having a full conversation with yourself before telling the answer.
Yeah, pawn to F5.
Yeah, pawn f5 saves the knight. And
No,
black.
10%.
No, then knight takes back. 1% is not the end of the world. 1% is just 1%. You take back. Pawn will take, knight will take, and everything is fine. Black's up a pawn. And then you can take back. But there was a better move. Let's go back. Now, Vihan told queen e2. That's the killer move. The knight's almost trapped, remember?
Yes.
But black can defend it by Rajveer. How will black save this knight?
Sir, pawn F5.
Or
Or
one more move is there for black. Rayanch?
D6.
How will pawn d6 save the knight? I'll take the knight, no mister.
Oh yeah. I mean D5.
Yeah, d5 or f5, right? But now in the previous line when Arav played bishop d5, f5 defended the knight. And on Basan knight took back. But what's the difference now?
Sir,
If black plays f5 or d5, what's the difference? Arav?
Sir, then if black plays f5, then we take the
We take on Basan and knight cannot take back because of the
Oh, yeah,
queen.
true.
That's the difference. That's why queen e2 is important.
what if we go knight like without taking in position?
Hmm.
What if we go knight to no.
Knight g5 is a
Queen will take.
yeah, knight will take or knight will take. Queen can't take. Bishop is there.
Oh.
Knight will take. So you have to take 1%.
Then oh.
You take 1% and you're better. You're up a pawn. Now white is in a good position
Then
because
sir, is this a fair trade, right? Because after he takes it, you go
if he takes it, you take the free knight. You're winning.
you go to queen to queen to
Which line are you talking about? This position.
No, so when I move my knight to
1 second.
So basically, sir, it will be 2
1
pawns up
second.
for
1
white.
second. He's saying something. You're saying what?
knight
Knight.
to g
Knight h5. I'll just take it for free. No, it's a free piece.
queen to h5.
Queen to h5. Oh, queen h5. Queen h5. Pawn g6. You will get back your piece. You're saying. You will get back your piece. You can take the knight. But that's not what white wants now. White wants to have an advantage. He's still 1 pawn down. White still hasn't taken back. So instead of doing all that, just take 1%. Take the free pawn. Simple.
Basically,
What does he need to play knight g5?
Sir, it
and all?
will be 2 pawns up for
No, no.
white.
Pawn takes. Now
Sir,
black.
why is a knight
Sir.
to black?
What happened? Oh, this knight.
Sir, what if I play d5?
1 second. First, you have to understand this. After, what was it? This was the position. If black plays f5, you will play pawn percent. You got the pawn. Can black take back with the pawn? Is that what black should do? Atar, should black play pawn takes pawn? Would you advise black to do that?
Sir, no.
Because?
Because then white can take the knight.
Exactly. So what should black do here, Ashvik? What's the only move for black to save the knight? Let Ashvik decide.
Oh, but so before that, why can't we take it with the g pawn in understand?
Because queen takes knight, free piece, white's up a piece. So your knight's hanging. You defended with the pawn, I took the pawn. So now your knight's again hanging. So how should we save the knight? Yeah, d5.
d5.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now we can't do much. Yeah, we can take another pawn. They will move and then we can move our bishop. Bishop here. So white is up 2 pawns, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 pawn, not 2 pawns, 1 pawn. But king is not able to castle. Position is good for white. So this is what will happen after queen e2. If you play f5. Now Praneeth is saying, don't play f5, play
D5.
d5.
Yes.
So where was the pawn? Yeah, after. So again, for those who did not understand it completely, let's do it one more time so that you understand this line properly. Because only with repetition you will understand
Sir,
the position.
Sir, I forgot
Yes,
the
what
first
happened?
there is a
line.
move like after Italian,
Hmm.
black plays h6.
That's not a good move. That's just trying to stop knight from coming there. That's not a good move. In the opening, you don't want to play moves on the corner. So that is not considered a good move. I will just play d4 and get a good position.
Exactly.
So e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, bishop c5, and now Sai Krishna, what move for white? What's the main move for white?
Sir, pawn to d4.
Giving up a free pawn. That's what white should do, yeah?
No, sir. No, sir.
You can't play pawn d4 directly. You want, but you can't.
C3.
Yeah,
So
c3.
so that's
c3.
a Scotch, right?
That's not Scotch. Without the bishops, that's a Scotch. If bishops is sitting there and you play, you play d4, it's just a free pawn, not Scotch. So now pawn c3, black's main move. Yeah, knight f6, and now white plays d4. Black plays takes, and now white plays. Yeah,
takes.
you can take back. That's the main line, or you can try to trick your opponent. Try to put your opponent under pressure. e5. So we saw that after knight e4, queen e2 almost wins the knight. Even with d5, same thing. What will happen, Praneeth? What will white do now? If black plays d5, attacking a bishop, defending the knight, looks like everything is fine. Praneeth will play. Praneeth, not Sai.
I like white.
Praneeth doesn't see anything. Then Praneeth has forgotten something. Sai Krishna?
And Basant.
Huh? No? Yeah, of course, not person. What else? Same thing, na? Whether it is f5 or d5, it's the logic is the same. You take the pawn.
Yeah.
You take the pawn and now knight is hanging. So black has to play.
Queen takes knight.
If queen take, you take the knight.
Sir, I was going to say that.
Oh, so queen cannot take. So black should play. Vihan, what should black do?
Black should play pawn to f5.
Yeah, pawn f5 or bishop f5. Pawn f5, let's say, so that the knight is sufficiently protected. Now you take again. So again, white's up by a pawn. After queen takes, you take back here. Black is not able to castle. Again, position is bad for black.
What
Yes.
was bishop f5 because now the f
Same thing, doesn't matter. Bishop f5 also he cannot castle, no? And your upper pawn. So this is not what black wants, right? Yes, Sai Krishna.
So my question was why do we have to put bishop? Then the castling structure will be weak. I thought. Then you said.
Don't make noise. Yeah.
And you said anyway it will not be. Sir, if we move the pawn or bishop to
Huh.
f5.
Yeah.
If we move
Anyway,
the
black
bishop-
cannot castle. Yeah.
So I thought if they played bishop they could.
The castle this side. Yeah, but castle
no,
this side.
opposite side, sir.
This side.
Yeah.
This side
So
anyway
I
you
thought
can't.
why weakening the defense there?
No, you're developing a piece, but this is more protected if it's with the
No,
pawn.
sir. If you're playing with the pawn, now it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So instead of pawn, you're saying bishop f5. Now I understand. Okay, you're also saying that. Okay,
Sir,
alright.
sir.
So then again, pawn takes, but the risk now is your knight is still pinned, right?
Sir, but-
And if I attack it one more time, it's gone. So for example, right now, yes,
Sir, but the queen is hanging.
the queen will take.
Yeah, knight to d2.
Queen will take and
Knight d2.
Yeah.
yeah, knight d2. Yeah, more pressure. Now how would you defend?
There's
If it was defended with a pawn, this wouldn't be a problem.
So we need 7.
Yeah, you can defend now, right? Again, you can defend. But what if I put more pressure? Let's say I play first. How do I put
So
more
what
pressure?
else if you
No, instead
bishop
of this.
d3?
No, instead of this knight, you remove this knight. And then queen defends. f3. Oh, but now it's defended, yeah? There's no problem. So somehow bishop f5 will keep
Sir.
things together, but you're still one pawn down.
Sir.
White's still up by a pawn, right? You can take back. Yeah, it will be. You can take back here and it will be one pawn up for white.
Can
Yes.
I say something funny? Yesterday I had to checkmate with somebody.
In chess.com.
Yes, sir.
Okay, alright.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again, let's go back one more time. This time everyone would have understood properly.
Yes, sir.
But we haven't
Sir,
understood
can
what
we
should
learn
black
the
do.
rules? Wait.
You haven't even learned how to play with black this line.
So can we learn the fool's mate?
And what is it to learn in the fool's
I
mate?
know.
The fool's mate.
So what did it? Tumu checkpoint is called fool's mate.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yesterday was an insane day for me, sir. My rating went up to 614.
Okay. Nice.
Fool's mate.
I actually went up by like 50
Okay. Alright. Okay.
It's
Let's.
so funny to see a fool's mate.
Okay. Let's come back here. E4, E5, knight out, bishop C4, and we are in the Italian. And after bishop to C5, it is the Gioco piano. And now white plays C3, not knight C3, not a good move. C3, knight F6, D4, pawn takes. And now what we're discussing right now is this tricky move E5. We still haven't understood what should black do. Knight G4 is bad, go into the corner. Knight H5 is even worse. G4 will trap the knight. Knight E4, we saw queen E2 gives an advantage to white.
So what about knight g8?
That you know it's bad now. You're undeveloping a piece. White's already like.
What else can you play?
No, that's the thing. That's why we are learning this. This position is actually slightly better for black if black plays the right move. But
Queen
there is
E7.
1 second. Queen E7, we just play pawn takes pawn. It's still better for. I mean, Queen E7? Yeah, pawn takes pawn. and Queen E7.
Queen E7?
He's saying Queen E7, pinning the pawn. But then we just play pawn takes pawn and position is still good. Queen came out too early. Knight will be hanging after white castles. So, this position, if black plays the right move, black is slightly better. But the problem is, when you're seeing it for the first time or when you're facing it for the first time, it's close to impossible to find the best move for black. But if you analyze with the computer, then you will know this is the correct move. Only a computer can play it first time. Yeah?
d5.
D5. When your knight's hanging.
So but then you can just take the bishop.
Exactly. The correct move is D5. Well done. This is the only move that gives black the advantage.
So I have a complete.
Okay. Now, yeah. Now, what happens? If pawn. So first we have to understand why is this so good. If pawn takes knight,
Yes.
you take the bishop.
You have the center?
No, more than the center, you almost have a passed pawn on D3. Like if white takes here, rook takes back. This position, when you see it, it might look like white's better.
How
No,
can
pawn is there. There's a pawn.
So instead of that, can you go back like when the pawn was on F? Yeah.
Yeah. What should white do?
What if white play? What if white plays queen to E2?
Then you just develop your bishop.
Sir,
Normal.
what
And then
if
you
we
castle this side.
sacrifice
Okay, if you have a relevant question, then now you're having a serious discussion.
D2?
Yes, Raj. 1 second, Rajveer.
Sir, we can play bishop to G5.
Bishop to G5. Then I'll just play pawn takes pawn, attacking a bishop.
Sir, you said queen E2, right?
Huh? He's at queen E2. Check.
Then you said queen,
Bishop E6.
bishop E6.
Develop your piece and black is better. So the main thing to understand is after pawn takes, why is black better? Like here, he's attacking the pawn. You might think I have more developed pieces somewhat, and I can castle. You can't castle this side, and I have a pawn sitting on G7.
So queen is in the.
Oh, queen is here. Yeah. So position looks like it's better for white, but it's not. Black is better because if you defend your pawn, like if bishop comes here, if you're like valuing that 7th rank pawn, then black can just play simply D3. There are many moves to play. Just D3 is good enough. Black will play bishop out, queen out, and castle, and this pawn will fall at some point. So black is in a very good position here. This is not what white wants. So this line you can play, but not like this. If you're playing it as white, you don't take the knight. If you take the knight, they'll take the bishop, and black is way better, like -1 better. So we don't want that. So if you go back to that position after the Italian,
But sir, but then they just take the pawn or something.
well, that's why we have to understand. So let's try to understand the position. So after knight f3, knight c6, and bishop c4, bishop c5, c3, knight f6, d4. Where's the pawn? Yeah, d4, pawn takes, e5. What is the correct move here, Rajveer? What should black do here if black wants to be better?
Sir, that D pawn to D pawn to D5.
Okay, d4. All right. Okay.
So what if it's what if we take the like E takes
What if we enter
like
1%?
What if we
If pawn takes pawn, just queen takes back.
Exactly. And then that's a
Is
No
it
problem.
equal
Black is
position?
yeah, of course. Black has 4 pieces active. White doesn't have any sender. White is yet to capture back the pawn, no? It's probably better for black. Yeah, better for black because if you capture the pawn, I'll take. So you're down a pawn, black is up a pawn. So you don't take on
Minus one?
Yeah, it's a pawn up.
So what if we 0 for that?
So after, let's understand this first of all. So after pawn e5, d5 is the only move. Taking en passant is not great for white. Taking the knight also not good for white. Black is better in both those by a margin. If white wants to keep things around equal, then white has to save the bishop. Just save the bishop.
So I was
That's the
talking
only way for white to play the game. Otherwise, it will be bad for white. Yeah.
I was talking about like en passant.
Mhm.
Then after
Queen takes.
Yeah. Then after that, queen e2.
I just develop my bishop.
Oh.
You take, I take back. I can castle either side. Probably this side is better. I'm up a pawn. So let's go back. Again, the pawn is here. d5. White has to play bishop
b5.
b5. And now black has to play. Let me see if anyone can find the correct move for black. Are you sure?
I know.
Then think about it now. What is it to raise instantly? Try to think properly and decide. The only move for black to keep it equal. Sure. Okay, arrow.
Knight to e4.
Yeah. Now you have to save your knight because white saved the bishop. Black has to save the knight. But going here, don't go to the corner. Then pawn takes pawn. White's better. Don't go back. Go to the center. But won't queen e2 be a problem?
No.
In the other line, queen e2 was a problem because
Yeah.
knight was hanging. Here already, yeah, pawn is defending it already.
This time knight is not behind.
So after queen e2,
Castle.
there's no threat. Black can just castle and the game goes on. There's no 1%. Right? You can't take 1%
Bishop
first.
to d7.
After queen, no, you mean after queen e2.
Yeah.
Why bishop d7? You don't need to do anything with the bishop. You can just, if
Bishop
white
to
wants to
d8
take this
is
pawn
planning
take.
to sir, bishop to d3 can
No,
also
but
be
why
played.
castle queen? Just castle kingside and enjoy the position. No, you castle fast. That's what you need. So castle and this should be better for black because queen e2 is not good. So let's go back again. So now white has only one good move to keep it equal. So white saved the bishop, black saved the knight, and now white should play.
Queen. No.
There's something white had to do long back which is still pending. Yes, Rayansh?
Bishop takes knight.
Bishop takes me, pawn takes
So
back.
that's
Don't
pawn
do-
takes d4.
Yeah,
Pawn takes
pawn takes. You
d4.
got to take back. Don't forget that.
Oh.
See, you didn't take back at first. You played e5. After 3 moves, don't forget that you're down a pawn. You got to take back the pawn. Now things are okay. Like after pawn takes, bishop will move, and now probably bishop to d2, and the game goes on. Like takes, castle, the game goes on. The center is somewhat locked. It's not like a great position for white. Not what you get in the main line where you play c3, d3 or c3, d4.
So basically,
Here,
if I was not that good.
it's not good if black knows his stuff. But if you're playing a rapid game, 10-minute game, and black is not like very high rated, then it's a good opening to try. It's just good to try against not well prepared opponent. Well prepared opponents will play this and they will get a good position here. Yeah? Yeah, even if you know it's still comfortable for black. White doesn't have an advantage like in the normal lines. Normal lines you have the advantage, you have the sender, you have at least got the c3, d3 and later sender, but here you have this locked sender, equal position. So that line we have to know though because opponents will try it against.